Gibson, and I'm a consultant for Thrive Life. Today I'm going to show you how to make a macaroni and cheese jar meal. I got the recipe from another website called Rainy Day Food Storage Blogspot. So I want to do a shout out to them and tell them I enjoyed their recipe, but I did make a few changes to make it my own, the way that my family likes it. So to start with, the recipe calls for a basic sauce mix. So before I begin putting things in the jar, I have to mix up the basic sauce mix. So I'm going to show you how to make the basic sauce mix. So I'm going to start with a bowl and just mix it in the bowl. But if I have some left over, then I can vacuum seal that later and keep any for later use. But for now, the first ingredient is non-fat dry milk. So I opened this can new today. And what I do sometimes when I open a brand new can is I want to extend the life of the product in the can in case I can't use it in the time that it will be good for. So in the can, most Thrive products are 25-year shelf life. But once you open it, it's like a year shelf life just using the plastic lid as the seal. So if I want to extend that 1 year, then I will recan it in a jar of whichever size is appropriate and then vacuum seal it. And I have another video on YouTube that will show you how to vacuum seal jars if you have never done that and don't understand what I'm talking about. But that will extend the life. Now I've been told, and I've seen other videos that say that once you recan the product, that you're only taking 6 months off of the shelf life. So if it's a 25-year shelf life and you remove 6 months, then it would last for 24 and a half years. Now, I doubt that I would wait that long to use it, but just it's comforting to know that you are extending the shelf life. So the recipe starts with the non-fat powdered milk. It calls for 2 cups. So I'm going to put in 2 cups of non-fat powdered milk. There's the oxygen absorber. Okay, there's one. Make sure that oxygen absorber doesn't go in there. Okay, and there's 2 level cups of non-fat powdered milk. So the next ingredient is 3/4 cup of cornstarch. So this is a resealed jar that I've already opened and got ready for use, but it's a resealed can of cornstarch. So it calls for 3/4 cup. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup measure because it fits in my jar easier. So there's 1. And 3. So that's the cornstarch. Okay, the next ingredient is 1/4 cup of chicken bouillon powder. Okay, so I am going to wipe out my cornstarch just so that I don't recontaminate the chicken bouillon with cornstarch. Here's the chicken bouillon. 1/4 cup of chicken bouillon. Okay, there it is. Goes right into the bowl. All right. And the last ingredient on the basic sauce mix is freeze-dried chopped onions. So I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of freeze-dried chopped onions. Almost done with this one. Getting close to the bottom of that can. Okay, once you're done, mix those ingredients up so that they're equally dispersed throughout. It'll take me just a minute or so here. Hopefully not that long, actually, just a few seconds. Okay, so again, I'll just recap the basic sauce mix. Contains 2 cups non-fat dry milk, 3/4 cup cornstarch, 1/4 cup chicken bouillon powder, and 1 tablespoon of freeze-dried chopped onions. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, so I'm going to start with a quart-sized jar. Either type will do. Either the wide mouth or the regular mouth jar will be sufficient. I'm going to use the wide mouth. Put your canning funnel in the jar just to make things easier and a little less messy. And then you start with macaroni. You want to put the macaroni in the bottom of the jar because the sauce is cooked separately in the recipe. So you don't want to have those mixed together in the jar itself. So I am going to start with a 1/2 cup measurer because it calls for 2.5 cups of macaroni. So I will count it off. 1/2, 1 cup, 1.5 cups, 2 cups, 2, and I have to put a little bit more extra, 2.5 cups because I'm at the bottom of my can. Okay, now the next step is kind of important because you want to be able to get everything for the recipe inside the jar. And if you don't shake the macaroni down, there's a lot of little air pockets in there that take up too much space. So you really have to give it a good shake to get that down in there. Move it around a little bit. Okay, so that works. The next thing you need is a baggie. Now I'm using the fold-over type sandwich bags. And the reason I'm using that is I'm going to vacuum seal this jar. And so I don't want to have to worry about a zipper because I need the air to be sucked out of the ingredients in the bag just as much as the air sucked out of the macaroni. So I'm going to put this over the jar and fold it over so that there's room down in there. I'll just use this to kind of move it down in there and then put my canning funnel back in. So the rest of these ingredients are for the sauce that goes with the macaroni and cheese. Okay, so we start off with 1/3 cup of the basic sauce mix. 1/3 cup basic sauce mix. The next ingredient is a 1/2 cup of Thrive cheese blend. It's Thrive cheese blend powder, 1/2 cup. This smells really good. It smells like buttered popcorn at the theater. Okay, so that's the first 2 ingredients. Now, the third ingredient is dehydrated butter powder. Now, I've already recanned my butter powder, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of butter powder. Level off my tablespoon. There's 1. And 2. 2 tablespoons of butter powder. Okay. And the next ingredient, 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. You don't want very much. It's just a little bit. And most people are used to the macaroni and cheese that you get in the grocery stores and the boxes, and so they don't like to have a lot of extra ingredients in it, extra seasonings. But there are recipes out there for all kinds of fancy macaroni and cheese. Mine's not not a fancy type. It's more what people are used to. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to make sure I had I used up all the space in the jar here for my sauce so that I can get my final ingredient in there because it's going to be kind of tight. Okay, so I'm going to put the funnel back down in there, and I'm going to use freeze-dried cheese. Now, the one that I'm going to use is shredded Colby cheese, but you can use cheddar, you can use whatever type that your family likes. I'm going to use 1/4 a cup of the freeze-dried cheese. Now, when you cook this freeze-dried cheese will reconstitute right along with the other ingredients in the sauce. So you don't have to worry about reconstituting it first. It will reconstitute when you cook it. Okay, so shake that down a little bit. And then you take your baggie, pull up the edges, and give it a little twist. You don't want to make the twist airtight because you're going to vacuum seal the jar to keep it for a longer period of time. So I'm just going to show you what it looked like when you're done. I still have to vacuum seal this jar before I put it on my shelf. But that's what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm going to show you one that I've done previously. And what I did is I printed the recipe because I give these to my daughter at college, and it makes it easy for her if I just print the recipe right on there, how to cook it, how to make the recipe. I print that out and put it right on my jar. And I will print the recipe below the video on YouTube, so if you want to cut and paste that and print it out yourself, you can do that. But then you have the instructions right there, and then I put one more little label on it, and that is the date that I canned it. So I canned this particular jar on the 22nd of September 2015. But now my new label will say the 5th of January 2016 because that's when I'm canning this jar. So that is a macaroni and cheese jar meal that's convenient, it's healthy, it doesn't have a lot of additives and preservatives like the boxed ones do. You know exactly what's in it because you're the one that put the things in there. So enjoy the macaroni and cheese. And I'm Pam Gibson, a consultant for Thrive Life.